I have some great news. I am doing my first ever live recording of Pretty Tough presented by Prime. Come hang out with me and a few very special guests on August 30th at the Whidbey Hotel in New York. It will be during the US Open, so of course we're gonna talk a little tennis. It's gonna be so much fun. There's a link in the profile for tickets and I'm so looking forward to seeing you there. Bye.
I just want to see more women, not just on the field, but also in the owner's box. Because
In the boardroom.
it makes a difference. And I sometimes think about the Ted Lasso show because Ted Lasso, gets a lot of the credit and applause, but I'm like, it was actually Rebecca, the team owner, who helped change the culture. She allowed room for this conversation to change. So we do need more Rebeccas. We do need women managers, women owners. We need women at all levels in sports. So that's something I'm excited about.
Hello from London. I'm in town because some of my favorite people are here, and today's guest is no exception. Malala Yousafzai. If you ask most people what they know about Malala, they'll probably tell you the story the world already knows. The girl who stood up for education, the teenager who survived an assassination attempt by the Taliban, the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner in history. But for nearly half her life, Malala has carried the weight of a global movement while trying to answer a much more personal question. Who am I outside of everyone else's expectations? In today's episode, we talk about breaking free from the boxes people put us in, what life lessons she learned at Oxford, and why she's betting big on women's sports. I'm Maria Sharapova, and this is Pretty Tough. Support for the show comes from Amazon Prime. It's important to have hobbies. In fact, it's one of the keys to feeling fulfilled. So when the opportunity presents itself to try something new, take it before you lose momentum. Try those painting sets out at the next girl's hang, or invest in that sushi making kit for date night. Maybe a new set of bicycles for the family? Better get those helmets while you're at it. And rest easy knowing that you can find it all on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to find millions of items delivered fast. Same-day delivery? It's on Prime. Available in select areas. Terms apply. Malala, thank you so much for joining Pretty Tough. We're in a little bit of a different studio today. We are filming in the UK. I so appreciate your time. And when I started this podcast, it was all about women that didn't want to be boxed into one arena. And you are such a strong example of that, and you continue to be. So I am so excited for this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also so excited to be on your podcast.
I like to start these segments with a quote by the guest. And for our conversation, I've chosen something that you recently wrote about, and it's your experience of living from far away. You say it's like entering a hedge maze. We think we can find our way back, but over time we change and shift. And you say, quote, "Our best hope is to find people who remember who we were at home, someone who knows the songs we used to sing." That is such a beautiful way to put it. But I'm curious how you go about finding people that ground you in who you are.
I love this question. I feel very lucky that I was surrounded by incredible people growing up, from my parents to my school friends and teachers. And as I have traveled around the world and I have had this exposure in different places, I have met more people and made more friends. So my primary school years were in Pakistan, then my high school years were in the UK. I had an amazing college time here as well. I went to Oxford and met incredible people there. And when I look back, it was just those moments with everyone that gave me a sense of belonging, that helped me find myself and just know more about who I am and what is it that makes me feel valued. And so it's everybody that you get to meet and spend time with, and I feel very lucky that through my work I get this exposure.
It's been almost 15 years since you woke up in a hospital bed in Birmingham, England, after you were shot by the Taliban. It was as if the world in that moment had determined who Malala was. before even you had a chance to determine that yourself. What did you think of in the first moments when you had the chance to grasp what was happening to you?
Um, I was 15 years old, and when I woke up in the hospital, the first thing I was thinking of was just being grateful that I was alive. I was in an induced coma, and it was this struggle for me to get up and to wake up again. So I was very grateful that I could wake up. And I was immediately thinking about my family because my parents were still in Pakistan. And they arrived 10 days later in the UK to see me. So the moment I saw my parents, that was the first time that I cried.
Mm-hmm.
Because before that, I just could not even like process what had happened and understand the injury and just the damage it had done. And I didn't know if anybody had even heard my story. I thought I was just like lost and somebody found me, and I just thought nobody knows. And for me, the last thing that I was worried about was my school exams. So uh, I
Being
was.
the professional that you
Yes,
are.
and I was telling everybody I'm going to be so behind. Can somebody get me my books because I have to take these big exams, like our version of SATs, and I was so competitive in school in Pakistan. So it's and that is what a 14 or a 15-year-old girl would think about. Her family, her studies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I felt in that moment.
Well, the world had a very different narrative at that time. I mean, you became a global star overnight. And in preparation for this interview, one of the things I like to do as I listen to interviews of the guests and read stories about
Yes.
them and watching your documentary and reading your memoir, is understanding like those relatable moments between, sitting here across you and like finding those little bits from our past and whether it's our careers. And I remember being a young girl, in no way is this anything close to what you went through. But when the world determines who you are and you are too young to really appreciate or acknowledge or have an idea of your own identity,
Yes.
it's a scary place to be because you're almost losing control of your own narrative.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, you went through similar experiences when you get defined by a moment when you are just 15 years old or 17 years old. And I have always felt this expectation that I have to live up to who,
Mm.
I was meant to be. And and people define you in different ways, like a state woman, a change maker, an activist. And it wasn't just that people were saying it. I was receiving these titles and awards, and I received the Nobel Peace Prize when I was just 17 years old. And at the same time, I was worried about my high school exams and I would make it to college or not, and if I'm getting the good grades or not. And just balancing these two realities, that
Mm.
I'm still a girl, I still don't have answers to a lot of questions, whether that is personal or these big issues that we
Mhm.
have to address in the world. And I always felt that I was not doing enough. I have this huge responsibility on my shoulders to fix all the problems that girls face and ensure that every girl can go to school. And because it's like that's how people respond to you when you receive this recognition and applause. And so it took me a long time to actually get out of that, to realize that, I have my own unique strengths and there's, a lot that I can do, but it doesn't mean I can do everything. And I should be constantly feeling guilty or holding myself accountable for just, all the wrong things that are happening in the world. Because it gets harmful when it reaches a certain point. So, of course, I have expectations from myself, but I think there's just like a fine line where you are like, yes, should not cross that because it doesn't benefit you in any way, and you're not able to do the
Right.
job well.
Yes, and I also think that people immediately think that success should come overnight and that
Yeah.
your results should be seen by the world immediately. And that takes years to develop, right? Leadership and, and activism and, a business plan. It's not an overnight success. And it's hard for people to acknowledge that, we want to see, just because they determine that's who you are, they want to see like the fruits of your labor immediately.
Yeah. And I think people also don't give you this, like the real story behind what activism looks like. We read about big names in our textbooks, or we hear about them that, let's say like Martin Luther King gave a speech and Nelson Mandela did this activism. He protested on the streets, and then you are like, okay, so all of those moments just immediately change things.
Yeah.
When
What
you
did he
look,
do until that moment?
yes, what did they do until that moment, and also how long it took even after that moment for things to actually change. So for me, it has been just a lot of learning to realize that activism is a full-time job. It is a lifetime commitment. It requires a lot of patience, but you have to stay strong and be ambitious. Like, you have to be bold. It doesn't mean you are satisfied with the way things are. So you need that balance between a bit of that impatience, that you're not okay with the wrongs that are happening, but a bit of patience as well, that it will take some time, and don't get frustrated, don't stop, because stopping is not an option. You have to keep it going. And it's only after this experience of activism that I realized that 120 million girls can't go to school. Every day I'm like, why? Why is it taking so long? How can we reduce this number? Afghan girls are banned by the Taliban for the past 5 years from going to school. Why have the schools not reopened yet? But if I could, I would like change it just like right now, tomorrow. But then you realize, okay, it takes time and it requires strategic planning. So for me, it is supporting local education activists, funding their work, amplifying the voices of those who are voiceless and unheard. And you realize that with time, you can build momentum. So we are keeping the issue of girls' education still in the conversation, still in the top priorities. And I hope that more and more people recognize that it is beneficial, not just for the girls, but for all of us, because economies improve, we can reduce poverty, and we can see more equality.
It's like a harvest.
Yes, exactly.
I want to take you back to the time you're in Oxford. You enroll in 2017, and you had a bunch of normal college experiences, but in your case, they were also global headlines. How did you deal with that?
Oh, I was just going to say pretty tough.
It was pretty tough.
It was pretty tough. And of course, they were like completely normal, regular things that a college student would do. Hang out with their friends, stay up late, skip, a lecture, miss an essay deadline, wear the things that you love, like wear jeans, wear casual clothes.
Yeah.
I was very unfamiliar with that world, because before college, when I was in high school, of course, you are at your parents' house, and you are at school, and then whenever you get time off, you are traveling, doing conferences, events, meeting presidents and prime ministers.
Not everyone. You were.
Okay, so maybe in my case only, but sort of that. And in my school, because I joined a bit late, and I felt that everybody had already made their friends, and there were these like circles, and it was very challenging for me.
So you felt like an outsider when you got there?
And just the language barrier, the cultural barrier, it takes time. So at high school, I had just like made one friend, and that's because she fell out with her other best friend, so I kind of like filled in that gap. But so I was very anxious that maybe in university I won't have friends, and I just like wasn't really happy. And I just did not want it to be this like lonely time where I'm, stuck in a corner in a library and just like wonder what it is like to have friends. Because in Pakistan, when I was in school there, I had a lot of friends. I was just like jolly, sort of like, entertaining person. And I miss that part of me, because you sort of feel like you have lost a part of yourself. So for me, finding friends in university was important, because I thought like I could maybe connect back to the person who I was.
It was part of your identity in Pakistan.
So, and you can make friends when you go and sign up for everything. You go to as many places. So that's why when I joined college, I heard about all of these clubs and societies, and I signed up for everything from the Hindu society to Christian to Muslim, and rowing, badminton, I just wanted to be everywhere so I can meet as many people. And I'm so lucky that I made a lot of friends in college.
I feel like it's a lot harder to make friends in the last 5 to 10 years than it was when we were very young. Felt like a more casual experience. We didn't feel like there was so much on the line that we could just
Yeah.
be ourselves and goofy. And now there's almost it's a linked status symbol to it, right? Like you have to show up with something in order to be friends with one another. So there's like an extra element of pressure, I feel like. Even with dating, in
Yeah.
the dating world, like my single girlfriends have that similar expectation where I'm like,
Yeah.
just be easy about it.
Yeah. I kind of like hear that from my friends who are single or dating and breaking up. But I got married a year after I graduated from university, so I feel like I kind of missed a bit of that. Like, what is it like for you to be single for a period of
Yeah.
time? So my journey of like finding love was a bit different because I just never thought I would love anyone or I would fall in love or I would marry. I just did not want to get married. I thought this is like such a patriarchal institution and the whole history of it. And growing up I saw like girls who were only 11 and 12 years old, even like from my school, married off. So I was like, okay, this is taking the future away from girls, so I stay away from marriage. As I got older I was like, still women have to make more compromises, even in places where we feel like we have made a lot of progress for women. I said, like, I have accomplished so much. Why would I get married and like put so much at stake?
Mm-hmm.
You feel that even if that's not the case, but you feel that because it's generational, it's historic, it's cultural, and you feel the pain of many. So, but I found the right
And then you met
person,
Asser.
and then I met Asser, and I fell in love and all
And
of
that
that.
changed your
Yeah.
perspective. We'll get to him later
Yes.
because you have a lot of work that you're doing together, and I want to talk all about it. But you're not in college anymore, but you happen to be our youngest guest on Pretty Tough.
No way.
Yes. And as you near your 30s
Yeah.
and with all the responsibilities that you have, how do you mitigate what we call a normal life and normal life's responsibilities, being a friend, a partner, a wife, a daughter, and all the global activism that you're a part of? How do you juggle it all, and how do you find normalcy through it all?
Yeah, I think for me, this is more of a philosophical question because, I wonder about this duty and responsibility of being an activist. And, is it more the work that you do on a street when you are holding placards and protesting? Or is it more the person you are at home with your loved ones and with the strangers that you meet on the street?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm like, all of this matters. So when we talk about a world of equality, we have to think about how we are treating everybody at every place where we are. And I think about my father when I think about this role of an activist, because my father, yes, a very amazing activist, a feminist. When he started advocating for his daughter's right to go to school and for women's rights in our community, he had not even heard the word feminism, but he was doing because it was the right thing. So, just that
It was an action.
that moral sense that yes, like women deserve equal rights. Just because he was a boy, he had a different life, and then his 5 sisters, because they were girls, they never got their education, were married off, and for him it was this idea that we need to make it better for the next generation. So he, inspired me and allowed me to get my education and speak out. So I always tell people that there was nothing different in my story compared to the other girls who were speaking out. The only thing that was different was that my father did not stop me. Their brothers and their fathers were stopping them from speaking out. So in a very patriarchal community, a supportive father makes a huge difference. A supportive brother makes a huge difference. A supportive husband makes a huge difference. That can change the life of a woman. So we do need
Changed your
male
life.
allies. But my father, I praise him because, he's, yes, a wonderful father, but he's also an incredible husband to his wife, an amazing brother to his sisters, and an amazing son to his parents. And I have seen that in his actions, how he has treated everybody, is just a man of dignity and respect and love, and he just pours it all, and he wants to like serve tea and food to everyone and hug them and give them moments of laughter and be there for them. So he became a role model for me in so many ways. And I'm like, and that is the true definition of what, that activist is. So he's not just advocating for it and speaking for it and doing some projects. He actually is.
He's living it.
He's living it. And I think that's the message we need to give activists, anybody who's passionate about something, like make sure that you reflect your values and what you say you believe in everything that you do and in who you are.
Support for the show comes from Amazon Prime. When you're a mom to young kids, it's hard enough to get a moment alone. But to get a night to yourself, that can feel almost impossible. When the rare moment does arrive, make the most of it. That's where Prime comes in. That 3-day weekend the kids are over at grandma's, a play date turned into a sleepover, or maybe dad just takes them out for the evening so you can decompress. Don't miss the opportunity for a girls' night, complete with cheeky glasses and decorations, or an outdoor movie marathon with a projector and themed popcorn buckets. And you can get it all on Prime with same-day delivery. Embrace the spontaneous and treat yourself when the moment arises. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to find millions of items delivered fast. Same-day delivery, it's on Prime. Available in select areas, terms apply. In 2025, you and your wonderful husband, Asser, launched a women's sports venture. And we'll get into the specifics of the venture in a bit. But in a bigger picture, why sports?
I think sports is just like this power of giving you confidence and and it helps you embrace yourself. And I say that because sports has played a role in my own mental health journey. I was not able to like recognize it before. It was for me like a source of entertainment. I loved cricket growing up, and I would play cricket with the boys on the streets. And of course, like it was not so normal for girls to continue playing sports as they got older because of the restrictions in the community and just, how it's been gendered. But I still enjoyed it on television, but you never feel like it's for you. And, in these like recent years, I have been into sports because I was, going through a very tough time with my mental health and started getting therapy. And then I realized like, yes, that is an essential part, but you need to like find a way to reconnect with yourself. And sports helped me with that. So I started running. I set a goal for myself to run for 1 hour. And at the time, I could only take like a 30-second run. That's it. So
who helped you?
Myself.
Really? You did it all by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I was getting, tips from different people. And
trainers?
Yes. I was like, please help me out. But in the end, I was like, just keep it going. Just run. So that jump between like, I was like, okay, I'm at 10 minutes max. And then you're like, how do I go from like 10 minutes to an hour? And just one day you tell yourself, just keep running. Just keep it going. And I go to the gym as well. I love weightlifting.
I want to ask you about weightlifting.
Yes.
So how did that become part of your routine? Because weightlifting has in the last few years, especially for women, become a very popular workout.
Yes.
How did you hear about it, and why do you use that as a form of movement?
Honestly, like nobody had planned it. But my husband thought that it was not okay for me to have like my, Apple, the activity ring at like, just like 23 calories burnt so far. And me sitting on a chair like the whole day. So his objective was that at least like move around a bit, just take 2-3 steps here and there, and like light dumbbell.
So you started with body weight.
Yeah.
Almost.
It was very like, and I was, whenever it was gym day, I would be so grumpy in the morning, and I would be like mad at Asser. Why are you taking me? I don't want to do this. I hate gym. And
Malala has just become relatable, by the way. You know how many people are grumpy in the morning when it's gym day? Myself included.
Well, you know what changed things for me was when I started, doing these sessions. And of course, it was really difficult in the beginning. But Asar and I would do the gym together. So I saw that when it was leg day, Asar was really struggling and I could lift heavier weights than him. And that was the moment when I was like, actually, I love gym because I can like roast my husband and I can make fun of him. And it's just like it got super competitive. So yeah, like I do walking lunges and everything. And I'm like, holding like 14 kg. and
I cannot
and
wait
for
to
me,
send
it's
this
like
recording to him
for me,
when
it's
we
like a
finish.
normal chill walk, and he's just like crying,
Struggling.
struggling. Yeah, yeah.
I remember having lunch a few weeks ago, and he was saying how competitive you are in the
Yes.
gym and on the golf course and in cricket. And I love that side of you because you have this soft composure
Yes.
about you. But I know underneath there is a competitive juice that flows into
Yes.
every work that you
Just
do.
only in sports. Honestly, I'm a very peaceful person. Like, I do promise that. But when it comes to sports, I get very competitive. In golf, I'm like, I want to express my emotions. Why not? If it's a bad,
Do you
swing,
throw the
it's a
club?
bad swing. I try not to, but yeah, the thought does come to my mind. Yeah.
Do you have road rage in the golf cart?
Do I have?
Road rage in the golf cart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Honking.
Honestly, like, so Asar and I have been together, married for almost 5 years now. We have never really had like a big fight where we said, I am not going to talk to you. And we had that once, and that was at a golf course because we kind of like fell off, and who gets to have a mulligan, or
I love
it's sort of
this
like I was
story.
really frustrated with my golf performance that day. It's like when I don't do well in golf, then like I just want to cry. I get so grumpy, and he's like, "Don't be grumpy," but I'm like, "But there's nothing I can do about it."
You're like, I don't have another option right now.
I know.
You've won a Nobel Peace Prize, but around the same time, you lost a campaign for student council at your school.
Yes.
That must have been wild. Just the thought
Yeah.
of managing those
Yeah.
contrast. How did you handle that defeat in a moment that was so significant in your life?
I was actually upset when I found out that I lost this, school head girl position. Um, it was difficult because like my goal was to be seen in this high school and to be more visible and to like probably make more friends, because when you are when you become more visible, then more people look at you. And I would have these quiet moments like sitting alone at lunch, or just having one friend only, and feel like I could never get that time, just when you're like just chatting with your friends
Yeah.
and giggling together. So when I lost, it just felt like, oh, maybe like, it's kind of like reaffirms that fear that you have, that maybe not enough people like you, or want to support you or see you in that role. But after that, I was like, you know what? It's part of the experience. So I became. They voted me as the deputy head girl. So I was still in like the leadership group, but I was like, okay, there's not everything that you can get in life, and um, it's and I was still a girl, and just being able to like process these emotions was important for me. And it's just like weird, like on the one hand, you see it as completely normal to win a Nobel Peace Prize, and you are like not sort of like overly uh, thrilled, or oh, you do. But on the other hand, like you lose the head girl position, and it's just like
And that hits you
that's
more.
devastating. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy how that
Yeah.
works out
Yeah.
in life, where we think that during our greatest victory or biggest achievement that we would feel this huge rush of emotion and victory, but the feeling is more internal than external, and the moments that are just so difficult and bring us to our knees, it really brings us to our knees.
Yes. I grew up as this girl from the north of Pakistan, and my dream was to get the best education, do really well in schools, and have lots of friends. So for me, like that was something that I could not separate from myself. And of course, I have this dream to make this world a more equal place for girls and create opportunities for them. But in the end, I was a girl myself, and I also wanted to have friends and be seen and just have that life that I had envisioned for myself. But of course, circumstances change everything for me. So yeah, but I was still trying, making these attempts. Yeah.
I also find that we sometimes underestimate the challenges that come with winning. Is there a recent victory that you had where you really had to keep your eyes on the prize?
I've been supporting the Afghan women's soccer team in Exile. They are based in Australia. They were evacuated when the Taliban took over because the Taliban were breaking into their houses and finding proof if these girls had played sports. So the girls had actually buried their uniform and hidden their trophies so the Taliban would not find any proof. And some of them were lucky that they were brought to Australia. And despite all of those challenges, for them, the only way to have some hope was to be able to play football, soccer. And it was shocking for me when I heard that FIFA had not responded and there was no support offered to them. So in 2022, I went to Australia to see the Women's World Cup, and I also met the Afghan women's team. And I was like, yes, they deserve to play. So I joined them in their campaign to push FIFA to recognize them as the national team of the country. And, it took us nearly 4 years, writing op-eds and speaking about it at conferences. And one time, Natalie Portman joined me and the Afghan women's team's former captain to do a conversation. And through, those kinds of steps, it takes such a long time. But finally, we were able to reach to someone at FIFA. And that's where the conversation started. And it was, just a few months ago that FIFA now proudly announced publicly that they recognize the Afghan women's team as the national team of the country and that they will be supporting them. This is just the start. Because when we look at these rules and regulations, they are supposed to help the athletes. And FIFA rules do say that every country has to have a men's and women's team. And cannot exclude girls from playing sports. But this is the reality that Afghan girls are living under the Taliban. Their system of gender apartheid do not allow girls to play sports or go to school or go to work. So I'm so glad that, FIFA has realized that, it has so much power and they can, they should change the rules because the rules are for the players and not for some oppressive gender apartheid regime. So I'm very happy that the Afghan women's team will be able to play. So this is for me a story of success, but it's still we still have a long way to go.
And I also sense that the lesson there is you were knocking on their door for 4 years,
Yes.
And when they opened the door, your thought is, I didn't win. This is just the beginning.
Yes, because we want to prepare the Afghan women's team for the next World Cup. So, yeah.
So let's talk about Recess Capital. This is a platform that you and ASA are building to promote gender equality and just change the dynamic of sports ownership, especially for women. Take me back to a conversation that the two of you had when you thought of launching this venture.
So Asar and I have been very passionate about sports. He has worked in cricket, and I am just a big fan of watching sports. And growing up, it was cricket, but now I enjoy all sports. And for me, it was this question around when would we be able to see women's sports thrive the same way as men's sports has? And there were many moments. There wasn't just one moment, but there were a few moments that made me realize that maybe it's time for us to do something. So one time we were talking to somebody who was telling us about a new sport league. And I don't want to give too much information, but I said, well, you're starting the league, so you're going to do it for the women as well. And they said, no, we're going to start with the men's one first. And then we'll see, when it's the time, and maybe you will join us and we'll do something about women's sports. And that's when I realized that actually women's sports is not on the agenda. It's not even a second thought for some of them.
They were talking to the wrong person.
Yes. So,
or the right person.
because, for me, I was thinking about it purely as a consumer, as an audience. And I said, I want to see more women's sports. I want to see it on my television. I want to see it at stadiums. I want to see women's cricket and women's soccer and women's basketball. All of these things, just thrive the same way that men's sports are. And you realize, okay, actually there is a gap. And so then my husband and I started doing research, and we started going to women's games and started connecting with women athletes, getting their thoughts and ideas as well. Then we realized, okay, we can actually do something here because it needs a platform. It needs more capital because women's sports or anything that, we talk about for women, people often just put it in the charity bucket. And they're like, oh, social good, all of that. And I said, no, I think that's where the gap is, because a lot of the times people just do not put enough capital into it. So women's sports ends up being a small kind of a school stadium event, or a small school playground kind of event. And outside the city, quite far.
The kids' table at a wedding.
Yes, exactly. So if you're not putting enough capital into it and then you don't see results, and then you blame it on women's sports itself, that, it just can't bring enough audience. But in the past few years, we have seen that women's sports attendance has broken records. The streaming is viewership is also crazy. Just to see women's basketball is getting more viewership than some men's sports. That's amazing. But when you look at their valuations, they're still, really low because it's undervalued, it's underinvested, and then there comes the opportunity to invest in it, to put more capital into it. And for me, I have a platform. The engagement of younger people and this, incredible network of artists. And I also have a production company, and I love storytelling as well. And I love connecting with communities. I love making it more of a global conversation. So we are going to be bringing all of that into the investments that we make. So I'm so thrilled to be investing in women's sports teams and leagues, and supporting the women's sports ecosystem, supporting youth sports for girls especially. So there's a lot that is going to be done. So Asra and I are on this journey. We have an amazing team, and we have Billie Jean King and her partner Ilana on our advisory board as well. So
you have
what
the
else?
best board.
Exactly. So we're going to get it right.
Yes.
It's proving the business case of women's sports and making an impact, which is gender equity. So we have Billie Jean King, and we have nothing else, we have nothing to worry about.
And you launched the fund in 2025, but this has been in the work for many years. Is there a particular challenge that you look back during that time that you had to get through? Was it the skepticism? Was it the, people not leagues, team owners not believing in women's sport particularly? Was there a specific challenge that you had to overcome?
Because I have been talking to so many people for a very long time, I actually saw how the narrative changed because of the whole Caitlin Clark effect. So a lot of people were interested in women's sports, but they just couldn't. They were like, it's too early. I don't think it's going to work. And they were just not sure about the women's sports following and how it's going to bring together a whole different audience. And, Caitlin Clark has really changed
the narrative around women's sports. Yeah.
So then everybody talks about the Caitlin Clark effect and the before and after of that. And now we're seeing the numbers are just telling us the story. We don't have to.
Numbers don't lie.
Because at the time we were really pushing for it, and now we're here are the numbers.
You have to speak less.
It's exactly. I mean, women's sports every year is just breaking records. We went to the Denver football game. It was their home game, and it just started this year, and it broke the attendance record. 63,000 people attended that game, and I was one of them, and I just felt so thrilled to be.
Can you imagine what that's like for the players? I mean, I think the largest stadium I ever competed on was perhaps 20,000.
Yes.
I mean, 60,000.
Yes.
The amount of pressure.
Yes.
From an athlete's perspective. It's beautiful pressure, but it's intense.
What I loved was how diverse the crowd was. So women's soccer is actually attracting families, little girls, little boys, and there's just a sense of community.
Mm.
And the moment I love the most is like when little boys are cheering for the women soccer players. And I'm just imagining this like whole new generation and the many generations after them for whom it will be completely normal to see women on the field. And that is the change that we're witnessing.
Mhm.
I think, the generations that, that we are in, or like the ones before, for them, some of them never believed and may never believe in women's sports. Some are actually looking at the numbers and they're like witnessing it. They're like, wow,
Right.
we are, we're changing
Mhm.
our perspective on this.
Right.
But there's a whole new generation to come, the younger ones, for whom it will be just normal. Yes,
Yeah.
everybody gets to play sports.
And how does your perspective shift from working on activism and nonprofits for so many years to working within a venture fund that is all for profit, right? Mostly that is a business venture. How do you think about the two, right? Because I think it takes a certain amount of knowledge and experience
Yeah.
to think of it as a revenue business.
Yes. So the work that I have been doing through nonprofit is for girls' education. And I want girls to have quality education so that they can go and follow their dreams and so that they can become financially independent. Financial independence is just so crucial. Like, no matter where you come from and what your family background is and who you marry or any of that, you just need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and have financial independence, because that's such a, uh, you know, like it's essential. It's essential, especially for women and girls. So, like, so for me, like, when I am reflecting on like, oh, do I want to be in a nonprofit space or for-profit space? I'm like, I want to be in both spaces, because what I don't want to tell girls is that make compromises or aspire to get less or don't make money for yourself. That is like the wrong message. Education, I'm promoting education for them because I want them to know that they deserve more and they can get more, and they should be asking for more and they should be expecting more.
Mhm.
So,
Because that's how you bled your life.
yes, like I want women to, to be financially independent and to be in businesses, and to make money and to send this message to the next generation of girls as well, that be ambitious and be bold and do good work, but also don't hesitate in being in a business and making money, and you can decide what you want to do with that. um, and there's just like there are so many opportunities that you can explore. So when I think about women's sports as a business opportunity, I want people to know that women's sports is a profitable business the same way that men's sports is. It's exciting. It's different and unique in its own way. It's attracting a whole new audience that we haven't seen before, and it's gonna give you the returns, and it's also going to have that social impact side to it as well. It will inspire girls. It will build it will build confidence and self-esteem among them. Sports is a critical part of education for me, and I think that by investing in women's sports teams and leagues in the ecosystem, we will also be encouraging sports as part of education as well. So there's just like so much to
I
explore
feel like
there.
it's just the beginning of this
Yes,
movement.
yes,
This, female athletes are so dynamic. They have so many responsibilities, and they're able to show up for all of them. The beauty and today is that they now have a platform. They're now able to tell their story, and we get to know so much more about them. So we are a more educated fan because we know where they came from, how hard it took to get to where they are today. And even if they haven't won the greatest prize in their sport, we get to witness them and watch them through these ups and downs of their career.
and it's a really important point because when we look at the whole history, like women athletes are not paid enough. and they have to think about a second and third job as part of their sports career. So for them, like, sports become more of a part-time thing, and they always have to, make these compromises. So it's just like so much that needs to be addressed in terms of like maternity care and also the apparel, all of these things. That like most of it is not even designed for women. No concept of like looking into like menstrual cycles around how training happens, and that's when you realize the way sports is designed right now is for men. It's not designed for women. And I believe that women's sports should be seen as a for-profit business because we want the athletes, the players, to make money. Why are we sort of making it okay for like male players to be making, hundreds of millions of dollars contracts, and it's like a success moment, and then for women it's too much, and they're too demanding, and the business won't succeed if they ask for more, kind of arguments that we hear. I'm like, don't worry, this will succeed. The demand is there. More and more people want to watch it. We want to watch it on like the main television.
Main stage, center court,
Yes,
the center arena,
exactly.
the big field.
Exactly. From tennis to soccer to
all of
cricket.
it.
And we want to, when we turn on our television, we should not be like going through every channel like, "So where can I find it?" No, it should be on the main TV channels because the demand is there. Now we need to work on the supply side of it.
Did you ever anticipate going into business with your husband?
No, never, never.
Tell me more.
I didn't know like, how we would sort of live together. I thought the only thing we might be doing together was just go to cricket games because, I was like, okay, he's a cricket guy.
That's what couples do.
Yes. Or I was like, maybe he'll join me at like one or two events, but he's been the best life partner, honestly. I remembered like in the beginning, we're just like recently married, and then I had this interview, but it was very early in the morning, and he had like woken up before at 5 a.m. or something, set up my laptop and the lighting and everything, and ordered breakfast for me, and when I was up and getting ready, I was like, wow, like I could not have asked for a better husband than this.
Aw.
He is
I can
so
confirm my
caring.
husband did not do that this morning.
Well.
You need to have a talk with him.
I know.
Because those are fantastic standards that I can get
Yes.
used to. Support for the show comes from Amazon Prime. Being spontaneous is one of those things that's so easy when you're young and harder to come by once you have more responsibilities. And when you have kids, forget it. But with Prime, when the moment presents itself, you can easily embrace spontaneity and shake up your routine with something new. Instead of another night scrolling on the couch, why not put together an epic movie night, complete with snacks and decorations? When the kids ask to turn a play date into a sleepover, make it extra special with one of those Galaxy Light projectors. And when there's a change of weekend plans, you can pivot and finally host that game night to try the new card game you've been seeing online. You'll find everything you need on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to find millions of items delivered fast. Same-day delivery? It's on Prime. Available in select areas. Terms apply. You've met some of the biggest leaders of the world. Barack Obama, Queen Elizabeth, the UN Secretary General. Most of us aren't sitting with people like that, but still, you have to prepare for some of the most important meetings of your career. What advice would you have for those meetings?
When I sit in that room opposite a policymaker, a leader, I am not there to speak on my behalf. I'm there to speak on behalf of girls. Girls I have met in Iraq, in Brazil, in Ethiopia, girls whose stories I hear from Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, all over the world. So in that moment, I actually talk to them in their voice. So then I don't have to worry about how I look and what word did I mess up or did I remember everything. But I just try to stay very calm and just, tell them that, um, you have made a commitment to make this world a more equal place for girls. You talk about gender equity, and here are the challenges that we face. So just telling them, like, I'm trying to remind you of what your commitment is, and you will be true to your commitment if you look at these issues that girls are facing.
And when you're in those rooms or you're on a stage doing a TED Talk and you get distracted, right? Whether it's somebody says something or, you think of something, how do you focus back in on the subject matter? Because I'm sure our audience has faced many of those moments. Like, is there a piece of advice? Sometimes I think of like when I'm, in front of hundreds of people or doing a panel, whether there's some pressure or I feel nervous, I always like to lock eyes with the one individual. So it
Yeah.
makes me feel like it's just myself and them in the room and not everyone else. Are there little like pieces of advice that you think of when you feel nervous?
I feel like I'm kind of like looking at people, but I'm not looking at the people. So
Yeah. That's how
so
it
kind
was
of-
when I played.
yeah,
Because everyone was like, "Do you hear what they're saying?" I was like, "Well, I'd be silly if I said I didn't,
yeah,
but I'm not single focused on them."
yeah. Another thing is pauses. So when you take a pause, it feels very long to you personally. You're like, did I pause for like a minute? No, it was just a second. So do take pauses, because that is really helpful for you to gather your thoughts and just come back to the point that you are trying to make. Um, yeah, yeah, and just even if you get distracted, it's okay. Like it's normal.
It's kind of like meditation. They say
Yes.
distractions are actually quite good
Yeah.
because it gives you a chance to
Yes.
recenter.
And honestly, the audience is there just to listen to you, so you can take as long as you want.
You're someone that's willing to admit when you've gotten something wrong. I mean, you even had a TED Talk that was called What I Got Wrong about changing the world.
Yes.
And I know many women face that and feel the need to apologize for it. But what guidance would you have to own up to an error in a way that doesn't necessarily undermine your excellence and all the great that you've done?
I think that the challenge right now is that on social media, on these public platforms, we are really exposed. And if our story is heard at a certain point in our life, people have that fixed image of us. And, we grow, we change as a person, just like everyone else. We are learning each and every day. We make mistakes. But people just like are just seeing you in that from that one lens, and I would like us to challenge that. Uh, for me, like I have changed so much from when I was 17 years old to today. Like I'm 28, 29, and um, like if I were the same person, I would be like that is a failure. Like, because I want to grow, I want to change, I want to learn new things,
Yeah,
and
and no matter what you've
yes,
achieved up to date,
yes,
it's back to the story of knocking on the door and saying, "No, I didn't win. I didn't win." Right? I still have so much more work to do. And whether
yes,
it's a personal growth
yes.
or whether it's in your job or in your
Yeah,
relationship,
it's like your
it's
family
always
life, your
evolving.
friends, your work, how you are trying to like do all of these things in your life. So for me, like just accepting that you will be evolving, you will be growing as a person.
A lot of times we focus on the destination and we identify with this version of success. And, and sometimes that's because of an external pressure, or sometimes that's just an expectation that we had of ourselves. And most often when we reach that destination, we're like, this is it? That's it? Well, I thought that it would be a deeper feeling, right? It would be like this elation and excitement, but you reach it and you're like, well, I want to keep going. And I felt that in sport for so long. And I imagine, in business and these small victories that you've gained in your career and the doors that you have opened for women, it's like this little piece of pleasure and excitement, but you wake up the next morning and you want
Yeah.
to do it all over again.
Yeah. And, like when I started this journey, it was me fighting for my right to be in school. Then, when I received so much global support, I made it into a mission to help other girls go to school. And now I'm on this pathway where I'm like, I should not be the only one who is seen as this activist for girls' education, because actually that's not the reality. There are so many incredible girls out there who are leading movements. They're changing their communities. They're talking to stakeholders. Their voices are just like not appreciated, not heard. They are, they deserve the same support. So, like through the Malala Fund work, now we are giving grants to girl-led and young women-led organizations, and we want to like keep increasing that, because I am like, why should my organization be sort of an exception? Which is, like when I look back, yes, Malala Fund was started by me when I was like 15 or 16 years old, but I believe there are other girls who are doing the work, and they also need the support. So I'm like, through Malala Fund, I'll start that, and I hope that more and more organizations are stepping forward and not just talking about girls, not just inviting them to give an inspirational speech, but actually investing in them and funding their work and really like matching their determination, because nobody's more determined to change things for girls than girls themselves. So yeah, these are the things that like when I think about the future, I'm like, this is the shift that I want to see. And it's really important for us to talk about like women's ownership in sports, especially. So, that's something that I'm really keen on through Research Capital. We have been talking to more women investors, because I just had this passion. I said, I just want to see more women, not just on the field, but also in the owner's box,
In
because
the boardroom.
it makes a difference. And I sometimes think about the Ted Lasso show, because Ted Lasso, gets a lot of the credit and applause, but I'm like, it was actually Rebecca, the team owner, who helped change the culture. She allowed room for this conversation to change. So we do need more Rebeccas. We do need women managers, women owners. We need women at all levels in sports. So that's something I'm excited about.
You've devoted so much of your life to others, to young women who are, have so much potential and growth, but don't necessarily have an open door. And you've opened so many doors for them. What do you do for yourself? When do you think of yourself, and how do you do that? Because I know how important that is in our fast-paced world, to take care of ourselves, because we then show up for others in the best possible version.
Yeah.
But you've devoted so much of your time and your life to other people, and I'm as I was thinking about this interview, I just want to know, what do you do for yourself to stay healthy, to stay sane, to
Yes.
mentally challenge yourself?
I have always believed that I have to live a selfless life, and I have valued everything that I have received in my life so much that I'm like, every girl deserves it. Every girl deserves to be in a safe place. Every girl deserves to have access to education, and every girl deserves to follow her dreams. And when you don't have those opportunities, when you see the absence of it, then you start to value it more. So I remember when I was 11 and I couldn't go to school. I remember at age 15 recovering from the Taliban shooting, and I'm like, no girl should face this anywhere in the world. So it is that dream that just keeps me going in life, and I'm like, if I could give my every moment, my every minute of life to this cause, like I will. And if I can be in all the places in the world where children are suffering, I will. Like, I care about children in Afghanistan, children in Gaza, children in Brazil, children in India, Pakistan, in every part of the world, because they deserve a better, peaceful life. They should be playing. They should be in schools. Their school should not be bombed. They should not be banned from education. But at the same time, I was also just reflecting on, like, how can I do this better? Because I remember, like, not sleeping enough, not eating well, not even being able to like concentrate on my work, and struggling with mental health as well. But when I reached that point in my life when I felt like it was, it just tore me apart. It broke me down. And I went through like a lot of panic attacks and anxiety, and I was diagnosed with PTSD. Um, this was all a part of my life journey, and it was left unaddressed. So in college time, it sort of like tore me apart. And then I was like, okay, it's now a step-by-step process. So I started just by talking to friends about it. And then I started getting therapy. That changed everything for me. I had to unlearn a lot of things and relearn a lot of things, like, bravery and courage. For me, it was all about, suppressing my fear. And when I was becoming anxious and going through PTSD, I realized that actually, bravery is when you keep doing what you believe in, even when you are scared. So I had to embrace this new part of me, the one with a little bit of fear in her heart and anxiousness, but still was doing the work. And then getting back more into looking after my physical health, because physical health and mental health are connected. So eating well, drinking a lot of water, like drink
Yes.
lots of water,
Yes.
and eat well and sleep well.
It's all the basic
Things, they're essential.
that we forget to be mindful
Yes.
about.
So then I realized, like, yes, for like it's my fuel. I can't just expect myself to be running and to be doing everything when I'm not giving that fuel to myself, recharging myself. So and I want people to know, like, this is a more realistic image of what an activist life should look like. And
not running yourself to the ground.
it is part of your activism. Don't feel like you are looking away from the activism that you are doing. It's actually a part of it.
Leaning into it.
Yes. So this
love
is the
that.
picture of it as a whole. So in short, it's simple. Look after yourself, and you'll be able to do whatever you're passionate about in a much better way.
Yeah. I mean, even as I asked that question, you begin the answer. I mean, it's so admirable how you begin the answer with speaking about others. And
Yeah.
that's just, it's a testament to who you are and your journey, and from a little girl to now someone in their 30s. So we are in our lightning round. We have a few pretty tough questions left. The first one is, what is something that you've had to unlearn?
As an activist in the nonprofit space, you can't be focused on the for-profit business side. And it was my husband who helped me see it very differently. And I was like, okay, it's important for us not only to prioritize that financial independence for ourselves, but also encourage girls into this. So I hope that more and more women come forward and speak about it openly, and we encourage each other, we support each other. So I'm really passionate about financial literacy and like supporting women's sports as a business opportunity, and hopefully like unlocking more capital for women. Because when we talk about equality, it's not just about guaranteeing these rights for girls in a law or in some convention at the UN, but it's, that real power,
Real
that real
impact.
autonomy. And I think, when we see a shift in the capital ownership, like who is it that has the real financial power, it makes a huge difference when we, and I think it will be changing in the years to come. But we need to encourage girls into just becoming financially independent.
What is a routine that's helped shape your success?
The number one thing for me is not going on my phone in the morning in bed. I just
How do you do
up
that?
and just go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, wash your face. And then I added another thing to it, which was taking a cold shower in the morning. So I take a cold shower.
Have you done the cold baths yet?
Not
No.
those ones. No.
Okay.
One by one.
So you're starting with the shower.
Yes.
It's going to get in the bath.
Yes. I think it really helps to like sort of set you
Awake.
for the day. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how you do the no phone.
It's optional. I'm not saying it's highly.
No. I wish I could. I don't have
Yeah.
that discipline like you
It
do.
really helps.
Is there a common misconception about you?
I think people think that I'm just like a very serious person and like so boring and all of that. I'm like, no, guys, I can be funny and super chill. And honestly,
Your
because
sense of humor is wicked.
thank you.
And I mean, we've had a few lunch dinners where I'm like, behind this cool, collected lady is a very funny individual.
It helps.
And it comes unexpectedly.
I think humor is therapeutic. It helps me a lot. And sometimes when I'm just, at a dinner or something, I just want to laugh and giggle and, throw in a joke.
Contribute.
That's all. Exactly.
Do you have a relationship to perfection?
It's a tough question to answer because I would immediately say no, but I do think there is a part of me that is just demanding. And I do communicate this message to people that they have to be bold and ambitious. I recently gave a TED talk. So in that, I was telling the story of how I was perceiving change and then how my perspective has changed because, I have been in this activism for such a long time that I realize actually there is, no right or, perfect way. You just have to start with something. You just have to initiate the conversation because that spark is really important. And also realize the importance of working together with others. It's not about, one person, because when we all join hands and work together, we are more powerful, more impactful. And the final part was just being bold and ambitious in our dreams because, we have to dream big to make it easier and better for the ones after us.
What makes you feel tough, since this podcast is called Pretty Tough?
By weightlifting. I'm strong.
Great answer. And is there something that makes you feel pretty?
Oh, when I do a bit of makeup and put
Little
on
glam.
my lip gloss and
A little glam goes a long way.
and put on my favorite shoes. Yes. I'm a
I'm
shoes
with
person.
you. We're on the same page.
Yes.
Malala, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're so generous with your time, and I love the times when we get to sit with our husbands and discuss the future and the world, and your perspective is always so inspiring. So to have this conversation that will reach an audience that will be so inspired to hear from you.
Thank you. Truly an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks to Amazon Prime for supporting this episode. Excuses are easy. An epic movie night? We don't have enough snacks. Dinner party with the girls? We'd need new place settings. Surprise date night? Nothing to wear. But Amazon Prime's same-day delivery lets you say yes and jump before the moment slips away. So when the mood strikes, try that new popcorn maker, order those cheeky drink glasses, get that new perfume, and turn that "I wish we could" into an "I'm so glad we did." Visit Amazon.com/Prime to find millions of items delivered fast. Same-day delivery? It's on Prime. Available in select areas. Terms apply.